Finx is a new Mythic Brawler and is the first member of a new ancient Egyptian trio, something like that. He's the owner of the Star Park escape room, and part of what makes him so good at his job is that he can literally control time. And like most ancient Egyptians, he's obsessed with cats.
ابعد بقى ده يومك اسود النهارده. Perfect leg. You are history.
Stick around to the end of the video to catch all of Finx's voice lines. Finx's main attack is Chronocast. He uses his staff to fire 3 projectiles all in the same direction, very similar to Gale's main attack. However, the projectile in the middle of the 3 is slightly larger than the other 2, and it deals double the damage. The attack seems to be too wide for all 3 projectiles to hit a regular sized target, but all 3 of them will hit large targets. Finx's super is Time Warp. Finx creates a large area where time is warped, but only to his team's benefit. All enemy projectiles that travel through the area will be slowed by 70%, and all friendly projectiles, including his teammates, will be sped up by 30%. Now, Finx's projectile also get a 25% damage boost if they travel through this area, but the damage boost is only for Finx, not for his teammates. Keep in mind that the enemy projectiles will only be slowed while they are inside the area, so once they escape the area or before they enter it, they will travel at regular speeds. However, friendly shots that are fired through the super will be sped up even after they leave the area. Also, if Finx's attacks pass the berry or the super area, then he will continue to get the damage boost that he normally gets as well. Finx's first gadget is Back to the Finxture. This gadget has an 18-second cooldown, and when it's activated, Finx instantly teleports to where he was exactly 3 seconds before the gadget was used. He doesn't recover any health loss over those 3 seconds, but he does have his ammo restored to however much he had at the maximum time during those 3 seconds. You should also notice that there is a little dot on the map that shows you exactly where Finx was 3 seconds ago, which is nice because you'll know exactly where he will be teleporting to, but the enemies can also see it, so you gotta be careful. Finx's second gadget is No Escape. This gadget has a 17-second cooldown, and it makes Finx's next attack freeze time for the enemy that it hits. Only the middle projectile will freeze the target though. The 2 outside projectiles will not. The enemy hit by this gadget will be frozen in time for 2 seconds, totally unable to do anything, but they also can't take any damage either. In fact, it looks like the attacks will go right through them while they are frozen, which is really interesting. Finx's first star power is Hieroglyph Halt. This star power will slow down any enemy reload speed for 3 seconds every time they are hit by Finx's main attack. This star power is exactly the same as Willow's. Unlike his second gadget, it only takes any one of the 3 projectiles to slow down the reload speed, not just the middle one. Finx's second star power is Primer. This star power will increase the duration of Finx's super by 0.25 seconds for every projectile that Finx himself shoots through the super and hits an enemy with. The description says projectiles as in multiple, so I'm assuming that you get an extra 0.25 seconds for all 3 individual projectiles landed from each ammo. Okay, now that we know a little bit more about Finx and his time warping abilities, it is time to compare him to every single brawler in the Brawl Stars Olympics. We'll start with his worst test and move our way up to his best. First up is the Swarm test. Now, Finx's projectiles do not pierce through targets, and it takes 2 little projectiles just to take out one of the bots. There was really no easy way to do this, so I tried to fire his attacks at the right angle so that I could land as many projectiles as possible with each ammo. It still takes Finx 21 seconds to defeat the Swarm. That puts him in 81st place out of the 89 brawlers in the game. Next is the auto aim test. Finx's attack is kind of weird because the outside 2 projectiles actually start a little bit behind him, so they don't fire at all if Finx is backed up against the wall. So yeah, anyway, he's able to deal 1,800 damage to Nita from only 2 tiles away. That gets him 79th place, but I think that he could successfully auto-aim an attack from much further away with the other 2 projectiles to the side, or on the sides. Next is the Splash test. Very similar to the Swarm test, firing the shots at a slight angle was the best way to deal damage since only 2 out of the 3 projectiles can hit a box per ammo. Finx's super adds a little bit of extra damage at the start, and his reload gadget gives him 3 extra shots while the super is active. But after that, things really slowed down. pun intended. Finx completes the splash test in 42.7 seconds, so he gets 74th place. Next, we have the area test. Finx's super doesn't really deal any damage, and neither do any of his gadgets, so the only thing left to break the skulls is his main attack. Fortunately, his main attack covers actually a pretty large area, and it reaches a little bit behind him on both sides when the attack is fired. Finx breaks a total of 30 skulls with just his attack. That gets him 73rd place, which is it's fairly impressive. Next is the super damage test. Finx's super is all about utility, and as we just saw in the area test, it doesn't deal any damage, so Finx ties with 19 other brawlers for 70th place. Next, we have the box test. Finx can only land 2 projectiles on a box with his main attack, so he uses his gadget to fully replenish his ammo to take out the first box as fast as possible. He's able to save a little bit more time once he gets to the bigger groups of boxes because none of the projectiles go to waste. It still takes Finx 54.8 seconds to complete the box test, so he gets 65th place. Next is the survival test. Even though Finx's super can slow down the shots from the sniper bot, he still isn't allowed to dodge them in this test. And since the sniper bot's rate of fire isn't slowing down any, the super doesn't really make that much of a difference. With no ways of recovering health, Finx's 7,200 total health keeps him alive for 19.7 seconds, which is enough to put him in 57th place. Next is the attack range test. I ran into the same problem in this test as I did with the auto aim test because Finx has to be against the wall when aiming his shot. The 2 smaller projectiles travel a little less distance than the large projectile, which travels 8 1/3 tiles, and that ties him with 7 other brawlers, including Maisie, Max, and Janet for 47th place. It gives you a good idea of where his range actually lands. Okay, up until this point, he performed worse than half the brawlers. From this point on, he performs better than half the brawlers. Next is the boss test. Finx quickly charges his super with the first 3 ammo and then fully reloads by using his gadget. He gets the most ammo by waiting for all of his ammo to reload just before the gadget can be activated again. The boss is also a large enough target to get hit by all 3 projectiles from the attack, and with the damage boost from his super, he actually deals a lot of damage with each ammo. He defeats the boss in 34.2 seconds, which puts him in 34th place, and that is fairly good considering the fact that his super doesn't really deal damage by itself. Next, we got the race test. Now, Finx actually starts this test by running back to the starting point so that he can then use his gadget to instantly teleport up the map. After the gadget use, he is left to rely only on his normal movement speed though, so he finishes the race test in 10 seconds. That actually ties him with Barry for 33rd place. Next is the super range test. Finx is able to throw his super 7 tiles away, and the area has a 3 tile radius. That makes a total of 10 tiles, so Finx ties with 5 other brawlers for 33rd place when it comes to how far their supers reach. Next is the reload test. As we've already seen, Finx's gadget can instantly reload 3 ammo as long as he has 3 ammo 3 seconds before using the gadget. He has an average reload speed, but his gadget saves him a ton of time for this test. He reloads 10 ammo in only 15.1 seconds, and that ties him with BB for 22nd place. Next, we have the 1 second DPS test. Now, Finx is able to unload all 3 of his ammo in the same second, and with all 3 projectiles hitting and from his super damage boost, he deals 4,500 damage with each ammo. In total, he deals 13,500 damage in just 1 second. That puts him in 17th place. That's scary if you're a really large target. Obviously a little less applicable for regular brawlers, but still paints a pretty scary picture. Next is the 3 attack kill test. This test might not give an accurate representation of Finx's burst damage against enemy brawlers since his attack is too wide for all the damage to actually be dealt to the brawler, but 13,500 damage is enough to take out every brawler in the game, so he still has pretty good burst damage even if it's not that much. And that is also enough to put him in 11th place. Next, we have the supercharge test. Now, even though the projectiles from Finx's attack deal different damage, they actually each charge his super the same amount. He only needs 9 total hits in order to charge his super, so as long as every projectile hits, he only needs 3 ammo. Finx charges the super in 0.8 seconds and gets 10th place. Next is the assassin test. Unlike the 1 second DPS test, Finx actually has time to use his gadget in this test, so not only can he easily unload his first 3 ammo, he can then also unload 3 more ammo before his 3 seconds are up. He doesn't really even get close to reloading a 7th shot, but he still deals 27,000 damage in only 3 seconds. That is kind of insane. It's enough to put Finx in 8th place. Finx is really interesting. He didn't place super great in these tests, but I don't have a great test for, you know, speeding up projectiles or slowing enemy projectiles. So I guess he would take number 1 in both of those tests. So I don't know. Let's talk about how good I think he's going to be in all the different game modes individually. Starting off with Gem Grab. Honestly, I think we're going to go with A tier. Finx looks like a pretty good gem carrier to me. He's got a decent amount of health, he has a long range attack that is pretty easy to land, and most importantly, his gadget can easily allow him to pick up gems and then return to a safe spot. His gadget can also protect him from assassins and allow him to escape with enemy gems, even if he is close to the enemy spawn. On top of that, every super he throws down the middle of the map will basically be free gems for him since nobody will be able to hit him. I'm gonna give him A tier for right now, but he might even be S tier for Gem Grab. As for Brawl Ball, we're gonna go with B tier. I will quickly say that no, Finx's super does not affect the Brawl Ball, so he's not able to get any extra value out of this mode, unfortunately. I don't think that Finx's gadget will be useful in Brawl Ball since it's usually just going to be teleporting him backward, but I could still see some like pretty cool goals being made with it. That being said, his second gadget actually might come in handy since brawlers can't catch the ball while they are frozen in time, so he might actually be able to use that for an easy goal here and there. He doesn't have enough health to be a very good goal scorer. He can't break walls, but he is a strong enough brawler in general to where I feel comfortable giving him a B tier in Brawl Ball, especially on maps that are a little bit more wide open. Okay, next we got Heist. We're going C tier here, okay? I actually think that Finx could have been a solid brawler for Heist if all 3 projectiles could hit the safe, but they can't. The safe is just small enough that only 2 projectiles can hit, and it's actually only the middle one if you auto aim. So you have to manually aim to get more damage, which is a little annoying and weird. His super can't really be used to guard the safe either, because the whole reason his super is good is because it allows you to dodge attacks easier. Then the safe can't dodge attacks. So we're gonna go with the C tier here. For Bounty, we're gonna go with B tier. Finx simply just does not have the range to be a top tier bounty brawler in my opinion, but if he's able to charge a super, he might be decent in the mode, mostly because his teammates are more likely to be sharpshooters in bounty, and his super will make it much easier for them to push up the map and hit their shots. Like seriously, just imagine a Piper being able to shoot through his super and auto aiming on enemies from clear across the map. That could be broken, but it requires good teammates, which is why we're going with B tier, because let's be honest, most of you guys are playing with randoms and you can't rely on your teammates when they are randoms. Okay, next we got Hot Zone. We're going to go with the S tier here. Finx's main attack is perfect for pushing enemies out of the zone and keeping map control because it's so easy to hit. On top of that, I feel like his super will be one of the best in the game for regaining control of the hot zone and easily scoring lots of points while inside. This is especially true if Finx can land shots on enemies while he has his second star power equipped, because it can keep that super up for a longer period of time. This could be his best mode. Definitely S tier for Hot Zone. For Knockout, we're gonna go with the A tier. I don't think that Finx is gonna have the strongest early game in Knockout, but if he can charge up one super and survive until the smoke starts to roll in, one super from him could make a huge difference once everyone is close together. I also think his first gadget is gonna allow him to play a bit more aggressively since he can use it to quickly retreat back to safety. Finx deserves A tier for Knockout, I think. For Solo Showdown, we're gonna go with B tier. Finx honestly doesn't seem like that much of a solo play brawler to me. He seems like a really strong team play brawler, kind of like Max, right? Finx doesn't seem to have any stats or abilities that make me think he's going to be above average in Solo Showdown. I like that his gadget can save him from being assassinated as long as he's moving, but since enemies can also see where he's teleporting to, I don't think it's going to be a little risky to use, you know? He doesn't really have the burst damage that other good Solo Showdown brawlers have, so I probably won't play him much in this mode. I'll still give him B tier though, because I don't think he's going to be a bad brawler in general. As for Duo Showdown and Trio Showdown, because that's a new thing, Finx will be significantly better with teammates, obviously, because his super is going to be a lot more valuable. Not only will there be more attacks to speed up, but also more attacks to slow down from enemies to be able to dodge. I could also see his second gadget being used to freeze someone long enough for his teammates to get within range for an easy kill. A tier for Duo Showdown and Trio Showdown seem to make sense a little bit for me. Finx is all about his super. I could see him being really good in team play, kind of like Max. But otherwise, I'm kind of interested to see what you guys think of him. So let me know in the comment section below. That's all I've got to say, but you got to check out Finx's voice lines and pins. So enjoy.
Ha! Back to the litter box. I'm history. I'm Meowder here.
What a catastrophic calamity!
جبت آخري. أنا كده رحت في الرجلين. أخدت على قفايا. يا ساتر يا رب. يا دنيا. مياو. مياو. شايف النور.
Meow! ده موتني. That was positively embarrassing. I got boxed in. I'm way too curious to be furious. Meow! That hurt! يما! حبيبي! You're killing me! يا نهار اسود! وجعتني يا جدع! ايه النحس ده؟ يا ظهري! الدنيا مولعة وانا برا الموضوع. يا ساتر يا رب! اخدت على قفايا. مياو! I'm not kidding around. You are history. You got boxed, slapped, and wrapped. Ha ha! Astray led you astray. The best brawlers make the best boxes. Ha ha! Give my regards to a newbies. Ha! You're the mouse. I am the hunter. I sold you in a box. هفرمك. Ha! مساكين على قدهم. علمت عليك تعليم. Clotality. You are history. Perfection. Feline fierce. I like big boxes, and I cannot lie. Victory is empty, but I've held it. I shall have my kingdom. يلا! Let's party! ولعها! انت طلعت كارثة. برنس! كله ورايا! الزعيم بيتكلم. هجيبها من الآخر. ورايا يا أسود. I am feline feisty. Close out. It's go time. Meow! It's meow or never. Chaos whispers. Our fates are sealed. Life is a box of brawlers. The cat is out of the box. You cannot outrun the desert. The mask hides the predator within. I am the catalyst of carnage. يلا يا حبيبي. Let's go. يلا يا رجالة. هفرتكهم واحد واحد. وروني هتعملوا ايه. كله ضرب ضرب. مفيش شتيمة. هو ايه اللي بيحصل؟ فيلم ولا مسلسل؟ كاتاكليزم! خلصانة بشياكة. ابعد بقى. ده يومك اسود النهاردة. تايم وورب. Ha! Perfect lag. Ha! You've been paused. No zoomies for you. Time for a cat nap.